All right, so here in the third section, we're talking about, this is a kind of like a funny module, but talking to your friends and family and how to not burn bridges.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people go out and pitch people things and just totally ruin relationships. And I think that this is one thing that a lot of people don't talk about that's as a repercussion or a side effect of joining a networking business.
Yeah.
So what is your experience with that?
So I would say the first rule of thumb, right? When you join a networking business and you want to preserve relationships, you gotta understand, man, you have to remember business is business, friendships is friendships, relationships are relationships. You have to separate the two, and you can't take everything personal. Mm-hmm. You've got to remove all emotions from the results of your business. So for example, number one way relationships get ruined, you in your mind think that your best friend, your brother, your sister, your mom, the closest people to you are just automatically going to say yes.
Yeah.
That is probably the furthest thing from the truth.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they're not going to do it, because some will, some won't. The thing is, though, is that you've got in your mind these people on this type of pedestal that you think is going to automatically get in there, where you guys are going to take over the world together, get rich, buy Lamborghinis together, do all this stuff. They are probably, more than likely, are not going to do it with you.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot have an emotional attachment to their answer, to their, response to what you're sharing with them. You take it personal. So you share it with your best friend. Yo, listen, man, we've been talking about just elevating our life in every way possible. This is it. This is gonna get us where we want to go. Nah, bro. I think this shit was stupid, and I don't want to do it. They're not saying you're stupid. What happens right there is you think that they're calling you stupid.
Yeah.
Because you said yes. It's not the case. Now, easier said than done, because I've been in that position to where people who I really thought would join with me and feel the same way I did towards it completely shut it down. And, my feelings are hurt, right?
Yeah.
Damn, like I really thought they were going to do with me. But, you got to just understand, everyone's not going to be at the same level as you with anything. People are just, you just got to understand that. Like, first and foremost, man, people are not going to see things the way you do. You got to use some of that stuff as motivation, to be honest with you. I'll give you a story. My cousin, I always tell people this story because this story was one of those crossroad moments in my business. Very early on, I was excited. I was confident enough to share the presentation on my own, where I didn't need the person that got me involved in business to come do it with me. I'm like, I got this. I had a DVD, right? And I was running around showing people this DVD presentation, right? Got to my cousin's house. And, me and my cousin, we have a great relationship. We're cool. And it was her and her husband who were at the house. And I'm super cool with her husband, too. And got there. I said, listen, I'm working on something. Definitely want you to check it out. Threw in the DVD. And we're watching it. And I'm excited. I'm leaned in, just watching this presentation. And, I'm kind of like looking back at them every so often to kind of see their reactions. And as the prez is going on, I kind of get this energy like they're not feeling it the way I feel it, right? And it gets to a point where I'll never forget this. The presenter in the DVD, she's talking about the car bonus that the company offers. When you reach a certain level in the company, they'll give you $1,000 a month to pay for whatever car you want. Mm-hmm. Now, I remember when I first heard that, I'm like, what? Like, oh, I'm going to get that. And I would think anybody else who sees that, like, yo, if you, reach a certain level, this company's going to give you $1,000 a month just for a car. Like, that's incredible.
That's a lot of money to a
Exactly. Now, I'm seeing that, right? That excited me when I first saw it. I kind of like look over to my cousin, and I'm looking at her. She's looking at her husband. They're kind of looking at each other with like this smirk, and they kind of roll their eyes like. And I saw it, and that was, and in that moment, it was devastating. You know what I'm saying? Because I just thought that they were going to do it. Like, one of them was a teacher, you know, the other one was an IT technician. You know, I feel like they're really smart. They just got everything going on, and I'm like, damn, they kind of playing me right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I kind of feel like I'm being played. So when I saw it, I let the presentation continue, finished up, and so with that reaction, I already kind of knew where they were going with it, right? So I took the DVD out, and I was like, yeah, so that's what I'm working on, and it's kind of like, I want to wrap it up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, you know, well, you know, kind of wish you luck, man, you know, see how that goes, because remember, at this point in time in my life right now, I don't got much going on, you know, and they know that. So I want to pause right there and give a teaching point, because that's one of the biggest reasons why some of your closest people won't do it with you. It's not because they don't like you, it's not because they don't believe in you, they know you for who you are up until that point in time in your life, right? They know you for, they don't know you for being a business guy. They don't know you for having massive success. They don't know you for, you know, achieving wealth or anything like that. They know you for who you are at that moment right there, whoever that may be, having a bunch of sales jobs, you know, odd jobs, whatever, being unemployed, whatever, that's who they know you as. So even though in your mind, you know where you want to go in your life, and you know that this is going to be a vehicle that's going to get you to where you want, everybody don't see that, you know what I'm saying, the same way you do. And because you're the one that's sharing the information with them, they're going to look, they're not really, again, remember I said before, they're not buying the information, they're buying you. So again, I didn't realize really at that time what was going on, but as time went on and to learn more, I realized, see, they were buying me, they were not buying me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I definitely took it personal. You know, now I told you guys, don't take this personal, or don't take the business personal, for sure. Don't take it personal. I took it personal for the moment. I didn't hold a grudge with them forever. I didn't hate them forever. But in that moment, I was a gut punch. I left the house, okay? This is all honest to God, true story. I left the house, and I remember saying to myself, I was so pissed off. Like, they didn't know this at the time. I didn't let them see this. I was so angry, so pissed off. I made a promise to myself. I said, I'm gonna go to my grave getting that car bonus. Like, it was not only just to prove to them, but to prove to myself that I ain't no sucker. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna go make this happen. And I remember calling my mentor, and I was like, I fucking can't believe that they ain't believed it. They looked at me like I was some kind of corny, you know what I'm saying, like fool trying to do this. And I was letting off on that phone call, not at my mentor, just how I was feeling at that time. A lot of you are gonna feel like that. Use it to motivate you. I used it to motivate me, and it was one of those things. Like, I'm thankful for that moment, because that was one of the driving forces. I'm not even kidding with you. I always wanted to have a lot of things in my life. I wanted to have a grand lifestyle. That motivated me probably almost more than anything to go achieve that, because I needed to prove to them that I can get it done. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, take some of those experiences that you'll have with sharing the information with people, not getting the result that you want. Take it as a learning lesson and use it to motivate you. And do not, you know, unless they become disrespectful to you, which many people won't. They're not going to become disrespectful. Like my cousin, they weren't disrespectful to me. They just shared an emotion that wasn't aligned with my emotion. You know what I mean? And
which is a big difference.
Exactly,
it's a big difference.
Exactly. Yeah, people got to understand that. You know, just because they didn't see it as this big opportunity like I did, that's not disrespectful to me. It just feels differently. You know what I'm saying? Some people take that as disrespect, and they start to change how they act around them, towards them. Nah, man, I still got love for my cousin. You know what I'm saying? To this day, I don't have no problems with my cousins whatsoever. I still got much love for them, much respect for them. Here's what people do all the time now too, especially now in this day and age. The moment they start feeling like that, like, my friend or family member, they didn't get involved in the business, and they want to show them, they want to prove them wrong, they go straight to their Instagram or their Facebook and they start throwing subliminals at them. Do not do that. Like, don't, because the people that you're shooting these shots at more than likely know that you're talking about them. And you're going to create some sort of friction that don't need the last thing you want to do. I mean, seeing so many people go on, you know, after a meeting, it didn't go the way they planned, or maybe they had a string of meetings that didn't go as planned, and they're not getting the results they want, and they want to voice their frustrations on social media. That's not the place to do it. You know what I'm saying? You want to voice your frustrations, man, call up, you know, somebody who can help you out. Call up a mentor, you know, call up, you know, don't call anyone in your team, by the way, too, but call up somebody who is, you know, who's someone who's gone through some of the stuff you've been through, and voice your opinion on how you feel, man. You need to talk sometimes. You know, we're in an age right now, I understand we're in 2018, social media is a part of people's lives, you know what I'm saying? But we still have to understand, man, that, like, you know, your social media is also a place where people can get a glimpse of your personality too. So, you know, if you want to vent frustration, that's not the place to do it, in my personal opinion. I'm not going to go on social media and vent frustrations because someone who I shared the information with didn't get started with me, or maybe I had a teammate of mine, you know, that I wish was working harder and they're not doing enough, right? Who cares about, you're not them, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter what they're doing. Only focus on what you're doing, and, you know, getting on social media and shooting subliminals at people is just not the right thing. I mean, people look at you, they'll look at, first of all, like, you know, if you're online being negative, you know, talking, you know, negatively, shooting subliminals at people because they didn't get started with you, you know, oh, you know, that's why you got this job, and that's why you ain't never gonna be anything in life, and all you're showing to people is how miserable you are. Why would anyone want to follow you? Why would anyone want to be around you? So you got to think of things like that. You know, when you're on this journey in the networking business, that's one thing. It is a journey, but you want people to know that it's a journey worth experiencing. And if you're always miserable, because it's going to be more down times, bad times, than there is good times. So if you're always voicing and sharing how you feel in a negative light on a public platform like social media, why would anybody want to be around you? Why would anybody want to listen to what you have to say when you reach out to them? You know what I mean? I just think that's very important for people to understand that social media is not the place to vent. Social media is also not the place where you want to talk about what it is that you're doing too. You know, like playing cards. I always use the terminology like playing poker. You know, you don't want to, when you play poker, you have your cards facing down, it's facing you. You don't show anybody what you have going on. All you want to share with people is that, you know what, you're living better now. You're more happy, right? Why are you more happy? And that's the question people need to ask themselves when they're seeing you from a social media platform. Like, wow, something's different about them. They seem a little bit more cool, more chill. Look like they're doing a lot more with themselves. They seem interesting, you know. So when you happen to reach out to that person, they're interested in what you have to say, you know. Or vice versa, like that person, you might be so interesting to that person, they may reach out to you and say, "What's up, man? What's going on? You know, what you got going on? Talk to me. You know, what's new in your life?" So social media is just a place where I would say, you know, you don't want to necessarily, you definitely don't want to show all the negatives of what's going on in your life. But two, you don't want to be out there showing your presentation on your social media website either and telling people exactly what you're doing. Because then it's like, you know, sharing the full view of a movie before them even being able to really see it.
Or trying to get married on the first date.
Exactly.
Most definitely. Yeah. So what would you do, or what would you do if the opposite happens? Let's say you go and you pitch somebody or show them opportunity, then they get on social media and blast you.
You can't do nothing about that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you could reach out to them and say, "Look, man, that's not called for. You know, it's not necessary. I don't think you have to do that." And I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. But you got to understand, you can't control anybody, and people are going to be people. You know, if someone I've heard so many stories, and this hasn't happened to me, but I've heard so many stories of people who they'll share the information with somebody, like a friend, and they've got a group of friends that they all hang out with. That one friend didn't get started, and that one friend will tell all the rest of the friends, "Hey, listen, you know, Cyrus is going to show you, this idea that I think is really stupid. Don't do it. You know what I mean? I think he's an idiot for doing it, and you're going to be an idiot for doing it too. You can't control that, man. You can't control that. And I will say this too. Okay, if that happens, yeah, that sucks. You know, that's not cool. How are you going to rise above that scenario? Does that now mean that the business won't work for you? No, it doesn't. You have to understand it still remains a numbers game. Okay, you got 5, 6, 7, 10 friends or whatever that just got, like, you know, rained on a bad shower of information about what you're going to possibly share with them. Cool. It's 9, 10 people or whatever the case may be. There's still in the United States over 300 million people that live here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that sucks. Yeah, well, I hope that doesn't happen to you. But I know people who that's happened to, and they still reach the top rank of their companies, respectively. You know what I mean? Because they just didn't let that scenario stop them.
Okay, and then, you know, one thing you mentioned the other day is the scale of why, right?
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about what that means to you? Because these things are going to happen, right? So people don't want to really confront them, but you're talking about the scale of what's more important if you want to kind of jump to
I mean, you got to ask yourself what's more. So there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel when you go through this process of building a networking business or any business for that matter. It doesn't matter, like any business. You're going to go through some shit. Bottom line. So you got to ask yourself, what weighs more, right? The obstacles that you're going to go through in this process to achieve that end result, whatever that end result may be for you, or stopping, quitting, and returning back to the other world of, I just got to find a job working for somebody else, working 9 to 5, get my paycheck on Fridays, and live that life. There's nothing wrong with that. What I'm saying though is I'm talking to the person who knows that that's not the life they want to live. You just got to understand, it's either one, you pay the price of going through the gauntlet of all the bullshit for a short period of time to get to where you want to get to. The homes, the cars, the lifestyle, you know, helping your family out, charity, all that stuff. Pinnacle. You're going to go through some shit. Or what I consider is the ultimate sacrifice, and that's giving up all of that stuff to go live a regular, boring life.
Yeah.
You know, that's the ultimate sacrifice. That hurts way more than going through a couple no's and people possibly not agreeing with you or maybe even making fun of you. That hurts way more. That's way more heavy to me than to go through it and reach the end.